Yeah, what it is, people, it's your boy Doggie Diamonds. You already know Doggie Diamonds, No Filter Podcast. I'm in the building with, let them know who you be.
Zion Lexx, the one and only.
The troublemaker. They call you troublemaker?
The bad boy of the conscious community.
The conscious community, in your opinion, what is the conscious community?
The conscious community, in my opinion, is a beautiful ensemble of great minds from many different walks of life. You have your comedic people who come out and give you information that would basically reinstill and reinforce the legacy of Africa, which is very important to us as a people because being in the transatlantic diaspora, we've seemed to have forgotten our roots. So it's very, very important that the comedic teachers and speakers and lecturers come out and empower our people with that, because that is definitely needed. But what's also needed is the fact that we are a multicultural people. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, you have people that come out of Islam into the conscious community, such as Dr. Ali Muhammad, who's great in his own right, more specifically within his own lane. I've been very audible about people being great within their lane. It doesn't mean that a person may not ascend the ladder to be able to step in another lane, but what brought you to a particular plateau or level of greatness usually is the thing that you are proficient in, i.e. staying in your lane. Yeah. With that being said, I represent the Hebrew Israelite community, which is a community that catches a lot of flack because of some groups that are audible on the street corners throughout New York City teaching against Africa. Yelling, screaming, cursing, carrying on. Something that is not the face of all Israelites. All Israelites don't be on the street corners yelling and cursing, carrying on. Not all Israelites have a hatred for Africa. In fact, I come from the oldest Israelite community in the country. We were started in the early 1900s. Two of the leaders, Rabbi Matthews as well as Rabbi Ford, they were the forerunners of the UNIA. Okay. A brother by the name of Rabbi Ford actually wrote the charter for the UNIA. Wow. Which is powerful.
Let them know who the UNIA is.
The UNIA is a movement started by the Honorable Marcus Garvey, Universal Negro Improvement Association. Of course, he gave you the Black Star Line. These are things that I came up and still with. My family's from the Caribbean. Okay. My father's a Rasta. Okay. So I was always empowered in my home with a deep-seated sense of love for Africa and African people in general. And although I call myself a Hebrew Israelite and people look at Israel as the Middle East, anyone with common sense understands that's Northeast Africa. Okay. And until the building of the Suez Canal, there was no such separation or appellation called the Middle East. It was considered Northeast Africa. You literally could walk from Kemet to Israel within 11 days or shorter.
So when you say Hebrew Israelite, I look at you, you got the iced out watch, you got the chain, you got ice in it, you got the rings, got the good glasses on. I love me a good pair of glasses and stuff like that.
That's the Brooklyn in me, Dougie. I'm from Brooklyn, man. Vanderveer, 50s, all that.
So when other Hebrew Israelites look at you, do they criticize the
Of course, of course. I get critiqued for what we would call today doing too much. Okay. With your image, you know what I mean? But I have to be me. I'm 37 years old. I came up in a very, very rough era of Brooklyn, New York.
You survived 90s Brooklyn.
I survived the 90s Brooklyn where, unlike today, and I don't want to diss the up-and-coming generation because as elders to them, we gotta empower them. But I got to keep it real, too, because that's called edification. Unlike the era of today, you had to actually be about what you were singing about when we came up.
Facts.
I was actually in ciphers where if a dude started talking about how many people he popped, how many people he done robbed, and how much he getting money on the block, and he ain't doing none of that, he got snuffed before the rhyme was over. That's real rap. No. Literally and figuratively. Real rap. You got snuffed before the rhyme was over.
Or dude was even scared to even rhyme like that because dudes would be like, yo, you not built like that.
You not built like that. So we come from an era where you had to be about what you say you about. And being that Brooklyn is a place that they say wherever you find black people in the world, there's always going to be somebody from Brooklyn among them.
We go everywhere. Go to Kentucky, be like, is Brooklyn in the house?
Brooklyn in the house. They say if, we populate Mars, there's going to be somebody from Brooklyn planting the flag there soon. With that being said, I rep Brooklyn to the bone, the good part of it. You know what I mean? And the Caribbean background that I come from, it gives me that ability to show forth the jewelry aspect, what us West Indians will call modeling, you know what I mean? Or some people will say you being bossy, which means like you showing off or whatever. But it's part of our legacy, it's part of our culture. African melanated people always had a huge affinity to gold. Gold has distinct alchemical properties, which is different when you place it upon melanated skin. And a lot of people don't understand that. For instance, one of the most major empires to emerge from the world is Nubia. But they didn't call themselves Nubian, they call themselves Kushites.
Okay.
Who call them Nubians? The Kemetics. Why? Because Nub is the Kemetic word for gold. As a people, there was always a deep-seated affinity between us and gold. And again, gold having alchemical properties. When you place gold upon melanated skin, there is something happening on an alchemical level. So we always have to show that part of our history and our legacy as well. So I always rep in that respect.
And plus, the shit is fly, man.
Plus, it's fly.
Yeah, just because you conscious, that don't mean you got to be a bum dude wearing
That's
sandals
right.
and shit like
Let's
that.
keep it 100. That's
be
right.
super duper fly at all times.
That's right. Marcus Garvey ran around with military garments, and that in his era to do that as a black man when people was getting lynched publicly, that was tough.
Yeah.
You know, and he was known to also have jewelry.
Yeah.
For those that really know his history and his story and his legacy. So again, I'm going to always represent my culture, my history, which is going to be everything that is associated with the greatness of this melanated people that we all emerge from in this room.